Welcome to the Elevate Hair Show. We got a special night tonight. I've got one of my good friends from Ireland here, Mr. Paul Mac Special. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Great to be asked on.
Yeah, always a pleasure to connect with you. And I'm glad you got to be on our new TV show. Let's go ahead and pull up Paul's, this picture of Paul's page here. You guys probably know Paul best from his feature page, Hair Slayerz. And you guys have like a new kind of thing going on. And so I wanted to show our audience, you guys are doing these sort of magazine titles or covers now. What's happening with Hair Slayerz?
Basically, yeah. So I just started this kind of slay of the week to kind of give people like a taste of editorial work, basically. So I guess it's inspired by like Aesthetica. Like I've done 6 digital covers for Aesthetica myself, and it's always a great buzz to see our kind of work featured like that. So I just thought it was kind of like a cool new feature to give people who aren't kind of established in the industry yet, or who haven't done kind of much editorial work, but that once it kind of gives them kind of like a first taste of it, that it'll kind of inspire them to kind of progress further in the editorial kind of side of the industry. So like the images, they just have to kind of have a magazine cover look, or like an album cover, or kind of like a movie poster look. They don't necessarily have to be like professional editorial images. Just have that kind of vibe.
I love it. I want to kind of ask you a couple questions. Some of our audience may or may not know who you are. They don't definitely know what Hair Slayerz is. Is there something to your, I guess, how do I say this? How do you decide your aesthetic? Do you have an aesthetic? How would you describe the type of content that ends up on your page? Does it have is there a word for it, or how would you describe it?
Oh, like even though there's a collective of maybe kind of 50, 60 kind of official Hair Slayerz members that like a sort of an education or artistic team, that, I make everyone their own like kind of crest, which I show like them in the crest, but then it's like a kind of collage of their 5 best images. So it's generally when someone's got like 5 reposts on the page, and I see that they're like a team player, that they're, interacting with our other posts and hyping up other members, that I see they're a team player, that then they become kind of like an official kind of Hair Slayer. And like, we had a competition, like a kind of a Hair Slayerz quest, where to see who would be the kind of new Hair Slayer. And there was like a few hundred entered. It was very surreal, because like I don't have an office. I don't have anyone else doing the kind of online stuff. It's generally me on the couch, this couch, just messaging. And as aesthetically, I guess it's just more alternative, kind of like we have it in the bio, just more like asymmetric cuts, vivid colors, just kind of more punk rock, and kind of more the crazier, the kind of better kind of stuff, just stuff that's kind of might be kind of getting a look in other pages, where the kind of we'll take you, we'll have you, we'll hype you up.
I love that. I have a question too. Like, how does, because you're in the UK, and how does it work with
Ireland's not the UK?
Oh, look at me. Sorry, so bad. Ireland, right. I should know that. How do you sort of, with a more Eurocentric upbringing, if you will, and in a Euro community, you feature a lot of North American artists too. And so I'm wondering if there's an aesthetic difference between what's happening in North America and what's happening in Europe. And how do you fit in that world? Is there a disconnect for you? And are you controversial in a way because you're doing things not in your own turf, so to speak?
Yeah, I would have always kind of had more, even like before doing hair, just kind of been more like felt, influenced by like American kind of music and American style, and more of kind of like pop punk emo kind of skater kind of that'll be my own kind of aesthetic. So when I went to One Shot, I found my kind of own kind of tribe of people who, and I've been over there 3 years and have loved it each time. And like most of the people I'd be kind of hanging around with are now kind of hair Slayerz kind of family.
Yep.
But yeah, I do a lot of work in like London and stuff, and I was on the British men's hairdressing team for a while and stuff, and I've done, Salon International and competed for British Barber of the Year 4 or 5 times. I came second twice and stuff, but like I'd always kind of think my own kind of aesthetic would be more kind of like Americanized, and even like when people are on stage in America, it's more people are kind of it's a bit more relaxed. People are kind of laughing and interacting with the crowd, and it's cursing and just kind of having a good time. Whereas in Britain, it's a bit more kind of like serious and kind of uptight and very kind of prim and proper and kind of technical. So I've always kind of like gravitated more to the kind of American side of things.
Interesting. That's really interesting to hear. I see it aesthetically. It's nice to hear the background. Are you going to be coming to Behind the Chair Awards this year?
Hopefully now, like me and Amanda, like the Hairy Godmother, our entry, like that we did in Salon Republic, that it got picked twice for like Behind the Chair look of the day. Like Maggie, like B Scene's wife, she picked it, and Caitlin Ford picked it as well, like as former winners. So they picked it as their top 5 out of all the entries from this year. So hopefully, like I like that image, and it was kind of quite unique, and it got a good reaction online. So hopefully, if we make it to the kind of public vote, I think it could do well. But with the way things are in Ireland with COVID and all the rest of it, like we've been in lockdown for 9 months of the last year. So we've
Wow.
been in lockdown. Yeah, we were in lockdown since Christmas Eve, and it's going to be like the end of May at the earliest where we'll be back in the salon. And then, you know, at the moment, Irish people can't fly to America, so I don't know when is that rule gonna change? And even if you did, you might have to quarantine for 2 weeks, and when you come home, which would be like make the trip like super expensive to miss 2 weeks work on top of traveling over. So we just kind of have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But I have to. It's always brilliant crack, and I love kind of catching up with everyone and stuff. And I was so lucky that I got the Hair Slayerz kind of live master classes in last. It was like the start of February last year that we did in Huntington Beach, and that we did in Salon Republic. So we're so lucky to get those in, and they were real, good buzz, good reception, because it was more like buddies hanging out in a live collaboration with a live audience, rather than kind of, a very technical, kind of serious class. Everyone was laughing and joking. The models loved it. The students, we had a great time. The images, the collection ended up in Aesthetica and a few other magazines around the world. So, yeah, like hopefully once all this kind of settles down, that get back over there again and start doing more of them.
Well, hopefully, I'm going to be there, so hopefully, I get to see you. And
Yeah,
if you need me, I can adopt you or something if that helps.
yeah.
Whatever I can do.
that
Uh,
that
so, what I'd love to do now, because we've talked so much about your aesthetic and how the type of work you feature. Let's bring up Instagram and actually go through and look. Now, this is live Instagram stuff happening here, so it's a half joke. My mom might call at any moment and interrupt this interview. So
yeah.
live stuff happening. But let's go ahead and check out some of this stuff. So we just did these, and I believe who did hair on this one? Oh, yeah, Pretty Paint. So let's check out some of these other looks here. This one I thought was really Wild. What is it about this photo that really stuck out to you? Why did it make it on your page?
Yeah, she's actually one of our recent hair slayers, and amazing collection. And I just love the lighting in it, and it's just that kind of 80s kind of vibe, and it kind of it's more like a kind of alien jellyfish kind of thing. I just kind of hadn't seen you know a collection like this before, and it really kind of really pops. Yeah, I love that kind of one with the afro as well.
Yeah, really beautiful. I love the color as
Yeah,
well. Let's
yeah.
check out another one. This one's pretty mental here. Talk to me about this one.
Yeah, Cume here. I think he's based in Spain, but he does amazing avant-garde work. Like I'd be really kind of inspired by his work, him myself as well, because he does a lot of kind of cool, different kind of textures, and kind of brings in other you know other things that you don't see. Because like for me, often like avant-garde and fantasy, it's very kind of like feathery, kind of very airy fairy. Like it's a bit kind of like a bit cheesy or something. It's kind of not for me personally, but like I love his work. And like Sylvester Finold in London, they just create these like otherworldly kind of textures, and kind of mix kind of wet and hard with kind of softer. And um yeah, so I love this image.
Yeah, and we've got one of a Sylvester piece coming up. This one's it's almost makeup oriented, but
Yeah,
yeah, it definitely picks up
yeah,
the vibe.
that was another feature that I brought in the kind of makeup Mondays, where I'd start sharing more kind of like alternative kind of makeup artists like that. But that guy, like he's in New York, like empty pools, and
Yeah,
his stuff is just next level. Like
boom.
I'd love to collaborate with him, like do mad headpiece with them kind of makeup skills would be insane.
Well, I got to send him to. We started a new page called Elevate Makeup, and just for
Oh
fun.
yeah,
And so I'm definitely going to send that over to them. Speaking of Sylvester, here we are. Now,
like
for our audience, we've had Sylvester
yeah,
come and speak to us a few times, and well, I was really felt lucky. We were talking to him about his pandemic collection, and then he won
yeah,
British Hairdresser of the Year Avant Garde.
yeah, yeah,
This one
amazing.
predates it, but I love it. Tell me what it is it about Sylvester's work in general and this that just makes you feel like he's part of your crew,
Yeah,
because he is actually he's not an American, but he's fitting your
yeah.
vibe.
Um, I I really kind of look up to him, because we've kind of quite similar kind of stories. That like he started off as a barber as well, and he was just kind of like working. Like I think he's from like France originally, and when he
Yep.
first came to London, he was just working in like kind of smaller shops, and now he's progressed to this. I think he's won British avant-garde hairdresser of the year like two or three times, and his work is just wow. Like when it comes to kind of our posts, what I always kind of look for is that kind of jaw drop kind of moment where you're just kind of scrolling through the news feed, and you see something and you're like, wow, something that's kind of instantly um, kind of recognizable as their work. The same with like Cicely, the hairstylist with Hair Slayerz, and a few more members that you scroll and you're like, it just stops in your tracks, and you're like, wow. The same with Pigment and a few more that you're like, how the hell have they done that? It just looks incredible.
Yeah. And I've been talking to Shannon Pigment recently, and hoping to kind of hang with them. Another,
Yeah,
and there is I don't want to say that, but there is a sort of a kind of a darkness that undertone with your work.
yeah,
I see it here too. It's beautiful, but there is something a little, macabre as well.
yeah,
Is
yeah,
that is
yeah,
that
yeah.
something you're looking for, or is that just something that pops out? And let's give this guy too, Christian. Is it Christian Rio?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I love that. Like that look is insane, and it's cool as well because, like, you see, he hasn't a big following, just about 1,200, but
yeah,
like his work is amazing.
yeah. Crazy editorial work. This is nuts. Went ahead and gave him a follow. This one I loved, and I think we ended up featuring it as well, and it
Yeah,
crushed on our page. Um,
yeah,
I guess we can just go ahead and talk about it. Mullets, they're
yeah.
massive. Are they massive where
Or
you're at
massive.
too?
Ireland's always a bit kind of slower with kind of trends, but like the kind of cool hipster kids and stuff definitely have a lot of kind of mullets and like models that I kind of use for shoots and that I collaborate with a lot and stuff. But this salon in Melbourne, Analog, like they're killing it. Like their whole team is shit hot, like really, really good. Like all their stylists. I think Pete is the owner. His own work is sick, and like that stylist and a few more. But like they do some brilliant stuff. Really kind of funky. Like they've got an awesome clientele as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're really cool.
that's really, I love this thing. Starting to see a little bit more texture pop up on your page, which I
Yeah,
think is beautiful. This is a
yeah.
great piece. Anything you want to say about this?
Oh, it's just lush. Like you just wanna hug it. It's just amazing. I just love like I love just a big map of curls anyway, and like just it's unreal. And mixed with the vivids is kind of so cool to see that we're kind of seeing a lot more of that lately. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. But yeah, it's lush.
I love
Like
it.
yeah,
And then here we go. This is, yeah, I guess it's Mei Wang. Mei Wang. Um,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, this totally speaks to your vibe. I feel like
yeah.
a lot of great stuff coming out of Japan right now. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. Like what I seen the last while is like Japan, Russia, Australia. They're really kind of upping the levels with kind of it's kind of like a lot of it is like seeing haircuts back in the day 2008, but like with a more polished kind of an updated kind of look on it. I guess it's the whole kind of like e-girl kind of trend is kind of and TikTok is having a kind of knock-on effect. But yeah, this is amazing. Like this guy's work, like all his work is just so good. Like it really stands out. Like you'd know his work straight away.
Yeah,
It's
we
so
featured him
distinctive.
before, and we've
Yeah,
actually. There's two people who work on our projects and our work on this program,
yeah,
and we actually really were obsessed with this image here and tried to duplicate it in some sort of way on a model at home, and it turned out pretty cool. But this, yeah, just go to his page and check it out to look for more detail. But just a lot of
yeah,
crazy, beautiful stuff coming out of Japan.
yeah,
Talk about vivid colors here. Wow.
yeah. Cicely, like she's one of our hair Slayerz members, and she's one of my favorite like creative hair colorists in the world. Like you can just see there everything just pops, and it's just so kind of like original, and like you'd know it's her work a mile away. She's going doing a Slayerz class soon, and like I'm kind of buzzing to kind of see that because I know there'll be a lot of interest in it, but like her work is always epic. Yeah,
Totally in
Brandon.
agreement here.
Yeah, yeah, Brandon Messenger in the UK. Love Brandon. Like his editorial work and his avant-garde. He's just he lives and breathes hair. His kind of progressive haircuts. He's a great all-rounder. Like because like there's not many who are kind of as high a standard in both like cutting and avant-garde, and like he does kind of color. He's like kind of like a triple threat in a way. He's really awesome, and I think that was his look for like the alternative hair show. But love that it's so distinctive.
Yeah, and we've Brandon actually won our. I think he won mullet of the year, but he might have won the overall hairdresser of the year a few years back. And
Okay.
super nice guy. I got to meet
Yeah,
him in person at the alternative hair show and hand deliver his
yeah,
Elevate jacket for his win. But just a nice guy, and
yeah,
You described it. Triple threat is accurate. This I thought was really cool. This is very. This is kind of moving a little bit more into the beauty space. It's definitely
Yeah,
edgy. Don't get me wrong.
yeah.
Tell me about this. Was this something that
Um,
you
this
identified
is
as
from
beauty?
Yeah, like this is from Foxy, like Martin Fox, who'd be one of my I guess sort of a mentor in the UK. Like he's like he does his own photography, and like people be talking about kind of creative stuff I do. He's been doing it for years, like a big inspiration to me. And he shot like I was on the Young Feds, like as I said, the British men's hairdressing team with like Josh Monica and like Danny Robinson and a few, and like Foxy was the kind of like official photographer, and he's helped me out in the past when as regards editing images and stuff when I was kind of getting into editorial, and all around great guy, and like love his work. Like he's another Hair Slayerz member, and like for the standard of his work, he should have a lot bigger of a following, because I think his stuff is deadly, and like anytime we've shared it, it's got an amazing reaction. So yeah, he's in Middlesbrough in the UK, and everyone should check out Foxy's work. Martin
Yeah,
Fox 66, I think. Yeah,
yeah, he's dope. This is beautiful, though. I mean, it's definitely dark but pretty. Talk to me
yeah,
about this because I feel like I don't know. It's COVID time. It's hard to remember. I feel like Billie Eilish sort of really put this. I don't know if there's a style to this or there were. I mean, basically,
yeah.
it's an
The kind of
intentional
hot
hot route.
roots. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it's continued to expand, and this is sort of a sort of a two tone hot route. Tell
Yeah,
me a little bit about this. Are
that's
you seeing
actually
more?
like that's from Maggie M again, and like that's was Hair Slayer's most successful post in the last 2 years. It's
Wow.
on like 39K likes and um hundreds of thousands of views and impressions and all that. But like, yeah, our best post by far. So it just kind of blew up. But yeah, it's awesome. It's just like I love black with vivids. I always kind of have like they just even with tattooing, when you've like the kind of black with the colors, it just boom, it makes everything pop. So it's cool to kind of see it coming into hair now as well, because and becoming kind of like a big trend. But like their whole like their salon fan house in Scottsdale, like their whole team is amazing, like with B Scene, and like we've a few of their other members like Mo Raven and what is it? I always say her name wrong. I always say Ashley Hairflip. Yeah, or Hair by Ashley Phillip. Yeah, but she know how I mean. But they do amazing work with like them kind of like 70s style kind of flicks with the kind of mixing it up with the more modern and kind of vivid colors. Like they've really kind of set that trend for like the money pieces. They're definitely kind of ahead of the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wanted to see if I had one of those images. I don't think I pulled it for this conversation, but I definitely I am seeing I think a little bit more of a revisit of 70s styling,
yeah,
and a totally modern twist. So I'll try to pull some of these images. I've been posting a little bit. They're kind of on trend right now. Everyone's showing them.
yeah. They're blowing up. Yeah. So
Men's
this
work.
image, yeah, this is by Owen McCarthy Hare, one of my former students here in Cork, and
Oh, cool.
like yeah, yeah. So Owen he's now in Melbourne in Area Studio, and like he's killing it. He's traveling all over, yeah, all over Australia as a men's hair educator, and like he's an ambassador for a few big brands, and like he used to be a professional cyclist, and it's only the last few years he's only in the hair industry like 5 years, but like this is his first ever collection, and I just think the whole thing is epic. Like he called it unity and diversity, and like he had a good array of um like models and hair textures, and like just love that collection. And yeah, it's great to see him doing so well, and like he's doing a lot of Australian celebrities and stuff. So he's killing it. So yeah, big up
Yeah,
Owen.
that's awesome. I love to hear that, he's a protege of yours. And do you
Yeah.
struggle? Because, I feel like we at Elevate Hair, we struggle to put men's content that we publish doesn't tend to do as well as the female content. How do you as a
Totally.
barber struggle with that? Because I know you must like more men's stuff than we're seeing on your
Yeah.
page.
Yeah. That kind of, but it's just one of those things. Because often I find the content that I kind of love the most gets the least reaction because it's more kind of alternative, or when it's kind of men's and stuff. But you kind of, as regards kind of growing the page, it's just kind of tried to have like a good kind of mix. There's styles that will blow up and get a few thousand likes and
Yeah.
bring in followers, but then you gotta mix in. I love mixing kind of more smaller kind of like alternative artists. Kind of, I like having a good kind of blend of the stuff that's kind of gonna do well and be more, I guess, kind of critically acclaimed, because it would be kind of easy to just kind of pull back and just do the stuff that is gonna, your kind of bread and butter, that's gonna blow up each post, get a few thousand. But like, that's not why we started. So we're kind of here to kind of give opportunities to kind of all kind of genres.
I love it. This is our last picture. This one
Yeah.
won NAHA North American Hair Awards of the year, and I struggle with those awards where I'm like, oh, that's gonna win, and I feel like my picks never win. And this was like, oh, the first time, or at least that I can remember, where I'm like, oh, this is the one, and sure enough, it did.
Yeah.
Tell me about why this photo ended up on your page.
Yeah, I love that. Like, we rarely share pictures a second time, but I was actually trying to find that to bring it up for this conversation, and I was just scrolling and I couldn't find it, so I reposted it there earlier. But it's just epic. Like, the haircut is just so different to the aesthetic and the rest of the image, like the styling and the wallpaper and everything. But like, it's a bit like, what's that show, WandaVision? Is it that you've the kind of mix of kind of different kind of it's like two worlds coming together. But like, the fact that the head is held like that as well, I'd never seen something like that. I was just like instantly like, wow, that is unreal. It's one of my favorite images. Like, the whole collection is like savage, sick. So yeah,
Yeah,
we say savage.
it really is. It really is.
Yeah.
All right, Paul Mack, the editor-in-chief of Hair Slayerz. Do we say editor-in-chief in social media world? Why not?
I guess so.
All right, I said it. I said it here first.
Yeah.
Editor-in-chief of Hair Slayerz, Paul Mack. Thank you for staying up late and chatting with our audience. I know they're going to love it. Good luck to you coming up. I know things are going to be getting busy for you personally, and I know that the salon's going to be coming back.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us, and hopefully I'll see you in August, and if not, I'm going to come across the water and see you guys soon.
You're welcome. You're welcome anytime. So, and like, Jameson sponsor my shop, so we'll be well sorted.
All right, word. All right, well, so hopefully I'll see you soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much for having me. Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe so we can get this TV show off the ground. And if you missed any previous episodes, please go to our tv.elevatehair.com website. We've got all of our episodes on there for you to check out. Also, I want to say we've got new swag, new merch from Elevate Hair. So go to shop elevatehair.com for all the new stuff. We've got some goodies. See you soon.